Okay. So, welcome to BWTN Sports and Gaming. The breaking news coming out of America is yes, Deontay Wilder has indeed sacked Mark Breland for technically the second time, because after the Wilder fight with Fury the second time where Wilder was stopped, apparently because Mark Breland decided not to uh, agree with Deontay Wilder's belief that regardless whether he looks like he's on the verge of being knocked out or being rendered unconscious or being, beaten black and blue or whatever, it doesn't matter, because according to Deontay Wilder, I've still got a puncher's chance. But Mark Breland, being the trainer and the compassionate trainer that he is, he stepped in and said, "Hey, that ain't happening, not on my watch," and he threw in the towel. Mark Breland did that because he can go to bed at sleep at night and feel comfortable with that, knowing that he looked after a fighter that he had an emotional connection with. However, Deontay doesn't quite see it that way. JD doesn't see it that way. Most people within boxing, either former boxers, current boxers, or people who have seen lots of unfortunate situations happening in boxing, people having sustained injuries outside the sport afterwards, and can no longer compete, or people who have lost their lives inside the ring, will look on what Deontay Wilder's saying, what he's saying, and push past that. And Breeden will probably push past that and say, that's just a fighter's ego talking. He doesn't really believe what he's saying. But as true to his word, Deontay Wilder didn't let Mark Breland in the changing room after that defeat, after throwing the towel in. He was outside crying. He might have been outside crying not only because he wasn't allowed in the dressing room, but crying because his fighter got beat, and so badly beat. And then now, after a little bit of uproar from people across social media, I said, no, you need to bring Breland back. He can't be doing that to your trainer. Well, they brought Breland back again, and it didn't stick. Breland's gone again. So he's been sacked. So we're going to talk. Snakes in the camp. Afternoon. Broski, good afternoon. Craziness. There's footage of when Breland threw in the towel in. None of the other members of Team Wilder batted an eyelid. I don't see it that way. Trainer there to make sure you leave fight safely, and when that trainer was ex-world champion himself. Yep. What's good? Yes, Lawrence Williams, good to see you in the room, brother. So, okay, so we're all kind of jumping on this. Well, I personally agree with what Mark Breland did. I would do that anyway. But what I want to do in this show, good afternoon, Lakvinda. What I want to do in this show is take a look at things from just a different angle from me. You know me, I like to look at things from a different angle. My spider sense tells me that this situation with Breland throwing the towel in was just one of many things Mark Breland was doing in camp that they didn't like. That's what I'm feeling. I don't know. That's what I'm feeling. However, I've got a little bit of information to share with you. Because I was looking back at this whole Deontay Wilder, Mark Breland situation. I was thinking to myself, J Diaz. And, you look at JD and think, who's that guy? What's his boxing knowledge? What does he know about boxing? And I'm like, don't know much about him. And boxing people can be very dismissive. So I've said, I'm not going to fall into that trap, although I've fallen into it before. Mark Breland's the guy, he's the world champion. But because you're a world champion, it don't make you a great trainer. Let's get this straight. if you don't follow, if you're not a great, if you're a great boxer, it doesn't make you a great trainer. But, you know, same with football. Because you're a great footballer, you could be a terrible coach. That's simply because you can't relay what you learned in your experience and relay that to players or a particular individual. So that doesn't make, because you are a former boxer, it doesn't mean that makes you uh, exempt from not being a good coach. What you did as an individual might work for you as an individual, but it might not transfer to other individuals. You might be a laid back kind of guy, kind of chilled out, relaxed. You understand? Lennox Lewis, former undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. But under his watch, or any involvement he's had with two fighters, Manuel Shah and David Price, they both got spectacularly knocked out. Do I need to remind you that there are other guys who've got involved? They're not trainers. And Mark Breland, I don't know how good a trainer he is. I've heard stories that he's a good trainer, but that's not what this conversation is about. It really isn't. So this is where I'm taking this conversation. I want to know more about Jay Diaz, because that right there is where the buck stops. He is the head trainer. So check this article out. Let me get this up for you so you can read it, see yourselves, because there's a few people in here who are still going about sources. How disrespectful. But anyway, here we go. So for those people who like their source, here's your source. So read the article. I want to know more about Jay Diaz, and then I think I'll have a better idea as to what's going on in camp with Mr. Wilder. So according to this report here, it says that Deontay Wilder's trainer says meeting the boxer has been the greatest thing that ever happened to him. So I thought this article was written 4 or 5 years ago, blah, blah, blah. I just caught it February 21st, 2020. So it was this year. Yeah, picture of Jay Diaz and Deontay Wilder looking at one another. Yeah, right. So, little bullet points here. Meeting Deontay Wilder was the greatest thing that happened to Jay Diaz, his trainer. Jay Diaz told Business Insider, which is where this article is from, that he talks to Wilder regularly about how far they have come together from being completely broke when they first met in 2005 to headline one of the boxing events of the year 15 years later. Wilder's journey has been remarkable, from growing up in a childhood poverty to building a custom Rolls-Royce SUV, his 11th car, which he keeps at home, he owns in Los Angeles. It's been an amazing ride, and I wouldn't change it for anything, Diaz told us. Neither, we're assuming, would Wilder. You hear that? It's been an amazing ride, and I wouldn't change it for anything, Diaz told us. Neither, we're assuming, would Wilder. So there we go. Let's go down here now. This is the article that caught my attention, because I want to know more about Jay Diaz. So bear with me as I read this article. Deontay Wilder's trainer Jay Diaz says meeting the heavyweight was the greatest thing that ever happened to him. Speaking to Business Insider inside the MGM Grand Garden Arena, where his famous heavyweight fighter defends his WBC championship belt against Tyson Fury on February 22nd, Diaz said Wilder has changed his life forever. So this is before they fought against Tyson Fury. All right? This year. So this was the second fight, I believe. It's a mutual feeling. After all, in 2017, 12 years after they met for the first time, Wilder said on the Premier Boxing Champions website that there were a handful of people who guided his life and shaped him as a person. He puts his relationship up to Diaz up there with the inspiration he draws from Muhammad Ali, with his family members like grandma and his children, and his relationship with God. Nice. Wilder grew up poor, and the way Diaz tells it, he did too. For Wilder, he was dressed up in hand-me-downs, Walmart sale items, and shoes that barely fit, according to The Athletic, another publication. Later in life, when he was a freshman at community college in Tuscaloosa, Wilder left the education system to work multiple jobs to support his daughter, Naya, who was born with spina bifida, which is a birth defect of the spinal cord. Doctors told him that she may never walk, or never walk again, or never be able to walk. Wilder worked at Red Lobster, IHOP, and even delivered beer kegs in the middle of the night. Then one day he walked into a boxing gym, met Jay Diaz, and their lives would never be the same again. It was not long before Wilder was knocking out sparring partners down in the gym. He could easily have made £500 a month as a journeyman. Somehow, someone would have been offered fights late notice to save a local boxer and ultimately be paid to lose. But it was Diaz who encouraged Wilder to learn his trade on the amateur scene, even if it was for a short while. He saw Wilder's potential. After only 3 years of learning boxing, Wilder had won a bronze medal at 2008 Olympic Games. 7 years after that, he was a professional world champion boxer. Last year, ESPN reports that Wilder got his 11th car. We spoke about that earlier. The daughter, he was told, might never walk, is now on the cheerleading squad. Wow. This man has been the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, Diaz told the Insider this week. Our partnership has been phenomenal and successful, and we talk about it all the time. That very thing, starting out completely broke in 2005, and that's where we are now. See if we can get this article up. Let's see a bit more. There's the rest of the article. It's been an amazing ride. I wouldn't change it for anything. So that's a little bit about Diaz and Wilder. So interesting. Where am I? Got missing. Diaz before was a crime reporter before he turned to boxing. And he's been with Deontay Wilder for the longest while. Wilder made him head coach. Went through the amateur game with him. Went through professional boxing with him. 15 years. That's a long time. That's a long relationship. That's a very long relationship. So Breland is an add-along. He's an add-along. I don't know how long. Let's find out how long Mark Breland was with Wilder. Because let me get the facts here. Mark Breland. How long was he? Does anyone know how long Mark Breland was with Wilder? Let's go this. Let's go to the. I'll just go to Wikipedia quickly and find that for you. Just going to do this here. Yeah, Breland trained Vernon Forrest. And he says it just says here. Trained Vernon Forrest. I don't know when he joined. I don't know if anyone can find it when Breland joined the team. I'd be interested. I'd be very interested to see when Breland joined the team. But basically, Diaz and Wilder have a very close relationship. It's 15 years. He took him from amateur to pro to world champion. That's a long relationship. That's a strong partnership. That's a relationship that they trust one another. All right? I don't know the dynamics of Mark Breland in that camp. Yes, he's a former world champion. And yes, he trained Vernon Forrest. I don't know whether Breland was a guy that was, he just went along with the game plan and just followed things, or Breland had his own ideas. I don't know. I don't know. What I do know is this. That last performance of Deontay Wilder, he looked terrible from round one, and I said that in commentary. He looked like a guy who had no energy from round one. I said this. So if you go back and listen to my commentary, I'm not being a jolly come lately. I'm saying from round one, Wilder looked bad. But even if I go further back in time and talk about Deontay Wilder's technique, I said he was a tremendous puncher, But what you need to do is back Wilder up. You need to double the jab up and push Wilder back. Because he's not comfortable off the back foot. He's not good fight. He's not comfortable when you push him onto the back foot. When he voluntarily goes on the back foot to find space, to throw the jab, to get space for the jab, to throw the right hand, that's different. But when you're forcing Wilder back and you're closing the range down, he doesn't like that. He doesn't like that. So now, he has this rematch with Fury. And Tyson's about, Tyson's the kind of guy that will dig the ore in. He'll rub the ore in. If there's a wound and he sees it, while Tyson will come along and get he will not get a bucket. He will go and get a skip of salt. If you've got a wound, Tyson Fury will come along and get a scoop of salt and throw it into the wound. That's what Tyson will do to cause further disruption. So he knows Diaz and Breland and Wilder. There's a problem with that mix, and Fury wants the third fight, and Fury would do whatever by any means necessary he will do to retain the title and be considered a great. Tyson will do anything that's necessary to do the job. Therefore, this being said, he said that he would bring Breland into the team. Tyson Fury said he will bring Breland into the team. Jay Diaz, if he's head coach, he's responsible, like I said before, for Wilder wearing that costume. He's responsible for it. So he's responsible for that. He's a head coach. He's responsible for Wilder looking as bad as he looked. If there was a bicep injury and it was that bad, he's responsible for that. So it seems that Wilder is going to ride with Diaz. Now, is Diaz capable of bringing somebody else on board? Is he capable of saying, you know what? I ain't up to this task to beat Tyson Fury? Or is he one of these guys that won't accept responsibility for that defeat, blame it on Mark Breland, and say, we're going to go again, we won't have Breland in camp? I don't know. But what I do know, he's head coach, so he's responsible for all those things that happened. And if he's head coach, how did he allow Mark Breland to go ahead of him and put the towel in? If he's the head coach, if he's the head honcho, that is like, let me say, that's like Lomachenko's father, who's the head coach in the corner, and then Lomachenko, the cuts man in Lomachenko's corner, getting a towel and waving the fight off. What allowed Mark Breland, in the biggest fight of Wilder's career, in one of the biggest fights in boxing history, to get up and just throw the towel in like that? What makes somebody do that? You go ahead of the head coach. That's like, for those in the UK listening, that'd be like Boris Johnson's the Prime Minister of England is about to give a speech to the nation. I'm pretty Pastel just walks along and says, you know what? Boris Johnson out where's I'm on the mic today. This is what I've got to say. This is my opinion. This is how it rolls. That's like agreeing a pact between brothers, and then you just sort of feel to do your own thing. What inspired Breland to do that? What gave Breland the confidence to do that? What empowered Breland to do that? Did Breland and Diaz have an argument in the corner? Was there a discussion? Did Breland say to Jay, look, Jay, man, our boy's getting whooped here, and I can't step back here and watch this happen. And Jay's like, no, bro, you know what the situation, you know what Deontay said. No, bro, I can't watch his brother getting beat like this. I can't watch your brother getting beat like this. And JD is like, bro, you know what he said? Well, I don't care. I'm not watching Deontay get beat like this. He's getting that match, he's getting that box, he's getting that beat, he's getting beaten up. The kid's got no energy left. And the thing is, here, Joey Camacho is Lomachenko's cutman. Okay, that's like Joey Camacho coming out. Joey Camacho coming out and just coming in the corner and starting giving Lomachenko instructions, and his dad probably watching going, what? So I don't know. I'm throwing things up as I always do. Okay, so what would I have done? I'm the head coach. Let me tell you something. I've been working in sport over 20 years, from the lowest level to the highest level, right? And it might not be boxing, but there's situations where you're still emotional. People are making decisions and you're thinking, hey. But that's why there's a head coach. That's why there's a captain. That's why there's leadership. And if that's the way the leadership want it, that's what it is. If you ain't happy with that, find another job. Go somewhere else. Look, have your own fighters. Yes, it's emotional. Yes, you've got that emotional tie. But you had that emotional tie way beforehand. So you in your mind have said, you know what? Regardless of all this, I'm going to do my own thing. But that would not be the first time. Things don't just happen like that. Things happen after a period of time. This is probably not the first time. Probably in sparring, Wilder had situations where sparring's got out of control and he's been on the wrong end of a beating in sparring. It happens. It happens in sparring. You go in, you spar with guys, and the guy gets on top of you. And he's beat the crap out of you in sparring. There are some days your time is not there, your speed's not there, you're not punching correctly, your mind's on other things, you've got to train. If you think that every sparring session a guy goes in and spars, everything's working great, it doesn't. So you have good days and not so good days in sparring, or you have some real bad ones. So it wouldn't be the first time Breland would have seen Deontay on the end of a shellacking. And if anybody is at home listening to this thinking Deontay Wilder in sparring's never taken a shellacking, every fighter in boxing has taken a shellacking at some point in sparring or in a fight. They've taken a shellacking. Ah, well, sparring don't matter. Oh, yeah, that's because you've not been on the end of a shellacking. So Breland would have seen sparring sessions like that. And people say, well, it's not a real fight. Okay, it's not a real fight. But it's still your fighter there. You don't want to see your fighter getting hurt. So Breland might be one of those guys who jumps like, oh, whoa. Where you got someone JT said, nah, it's all right. Let it carry on. Because Wilder must have come, Wilder can't just come out and make a statement like that. There must be something as to the reason why Wilder made a statement like that. I was watching O'Hara Davis the other day. He won that golden contract. It was being shown on not on Sky, on another network, and he turned his back against Josh Taylor, and he was called a quitter in that fight against Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor since gone on to be one of the best fighters in the world today. But what I'm saying here is, Davis said something. He said, you know what? It's the first time I've looked at that fight since I got beat. And I'm facing my fears and I'm looking at it. And I turn my back and I quit in that fight. And that will never happen again. Now, if that's a resolution, if that's something that Davis has said in his I'll never quit again. And then a trainer comes in Or no, he's with Kevin Mitchell. Mitchell decides to stop a fight when Davis said, "You know what? I'm never quitting. I'm not quitting. You're gonna have to knock me out. You're gonna have to really beat me up. You're gonna have to, if he's made that sort of resolution and statement, and Mitchell comes on and tries to interfere with that statement, well, there's a problem there. That's a man that's made a statement there, and much like Wilder, I suspect that for him to make a statement, nobody makes a statement just like that. There's always a reason why a person makes a statement like that. People make statements, and Wilder says, regardless what happens, I need to go out fighting. And you took it away from me, no matter how bad it looks. You took it away from me, the opportunity. You stole my greatness from me. Now, if you look at Wilder, he looked bad. But I've seen worse situations. Gatti versus Ward, that a lot of you guys that don't understand boxing think that is boxing. You look at the way Gatti was at one point in that fight. Or Diego Corrales against Castillo. Guys who were on the brink, I mean, of being stopped, coming back and knocking the guy's spark out. In that situation, we could have been robbed of a great knockout victory by Deontay Wilder. We can all sit down and say, well, it didn't look that good. Wilder looked like he was on his way out. And I would agree. Wilder did look on his way out. But who are we to take away something, or to take away a situation where Wilder could have turned that around with one punch? Who knows? The next round, Fury could have got careless, and Wilder could have thrown a right hand, and Fury could have been out flat. It's not that Fury. It's not like Wilder can't drop Fury, but the way that fight was going, the pattern of that second fight, it didn't look like that was going to happen at all. It doesn't look like that at all from my visual standpoint and looking at it from the outside. I'm not Deontay Wilder. I don't know how much heart Deontay Wilder's got. I don't know how much heart he's got. He took a lot of punches in that fight for somebody supposedly chinny. He took a lot of shots. Let's not be emotional here. He took a lot of shots. And who's to say the biggest puncher in boxing? I mean, I don't know anybody else in boxing who's laying guys out like that. At top level. Don't talk about Gennady Golovkin, please. When you look at it like that, Breland's got to go. Breland's got to go. When you look at it like that, when you're respecting a fighter's wishes, when a fight, see, you guys that are just looking from an end and not being involved or not fought before or not had to get in and fight for your life in a ring, you've never had to go for that emotional journey, getting up in the morning, go for runs, get back in the evening, getting in the gym, doing your sparring, then having to work. If you haven't had to live a life like that, if you haven't had to live that or go through that part of life, and you'll just watch it from the outside and just watching boxing and talking, it's a very different situation for being inside a ring where fighters made a conviction. Very different situation. Very different situation. So there are some people there saying, well, you know what? Look, I don't care what the majority think. What I care about this situation is that man that's in the ring, Deontay Wilder, and his convictions, because he's the fighter and he's made a statement. He made a statement way back. He didn't just make the statement after he got knocked out. That was a statement that was made clear to Breland, clear to Diaz. They both made it clear. It was made clear to both of them. One got emotional, one didn't. Jay Diaz has been with Deontay Wilder 15 years. 15 years. I don't care about other fighters and what happens at other fighters' gyms and other fighters' camps. We're talking about Deontay Wilder in his camp and what's going on with him. And this man, he's the boss. Wilder is the boss. He has to live with those decisions that he's made. So, if he's made a decision and he wants to challenge himself, and he wants, because at the end of the day, let's say, for example, Breland didn't step in. And yeah, he got beaten back blue, got stopped. Okay. There's a resolution there with Deontay Wilder. He knows at the end of that fight, I had nothing left. I gave it my all. I was out on my feet. I had nothing more to offer. I was out on my feet. I had nothing more to offer. I got knocked out by the better man. That's it. That's not the case. As far as he's concerned, he was stopped from being a warrior. He can't put his head down at night because every time he turns to left and right, he lies to himself saying, you know what? I had another 10%. I had another 20%. I had another 30%. I could have just... But that was stolen from him from Mark Breland. So, and you talk about a guy whose self-belief, you're talking about Deontay Wilder, whose self-belief is way beyond his actual ability. But his self-belief has made him go places that guys who are more talented than him haven't got. Come on, talk with me. Deontay Wilder's whole psyche is based on his self-belief. Yes, he can punch, but we all know he's not the greatest boxer. We know he's a great puncher, and his belief is, if I catch you that right hand, now from round one, you got to be perfect for 36 minutes. How many times is what? You got to be perfect for 36 minutes. He didn't say you have got to be perfect for 36 minutes, or if Mark Breland intervenes, that stops me from knocking you out. That wasn't part of the quotation. That wasn't part of the belief. So his self-belief was interrupted by Mark Breland. And when you talk about it that way, Breland has got to go. Sorry, because now you're interrupting my philosophy. You're interrupting my self-belief. You're interrupting my greatness for your emotion, your emotional behavior. Do it with some other fighter. Don't do that with me. You broke oath. You broke the script. For all my career, this is what it's been about. So, my conclusion is, should Breland be fired? Yes. That's my conclusion. But let's talk about what people think about that. Not about what they think about the third fight. Don't care what you think about the third fight. I just want to hear what you think about this particular situation we're talking about. So I'll just highlight those people. Okay. So, DOG says, Breland didn't follow orders. He must go. No room for those who ain't about to do or die. And he's a crunk man. Interesting. Interesting. Afternoon, Lakvinda. Good to see you in the room, my friend. Bruno's been fired since April. Old news. Well, he got fired again. Thank you. Old but good news. Malik Scott will take over leader's head. Why Malik Scott? What is Malik Scott going to provide? I'm sorry. Sorry. Why can't they work with a trainer who's proven something? The guy I'd like to see in the corner with Deontay Wilder, I'd like to see Derek James. Derek James said to us on BWTN Sports, after Wilder beat Luis Ortiz, he said, I would like the opportunity to work with Wilder and remodel him. And who better than a guy than Derek James, one of the best trainers in the world, a former heavyweight himself, Derek James. Why is Derek James not being brought into the mix? Why is it Malik Scott? What has Malik Scott done to be this head trainer? Why not Derek James? Why not Derek James? What is Malik Scott doing? Why not Derek James? JD is the camp coordinator, hiring sparring partners, etc. Okay. JD has got his box education from former world champion Simon Colombe. Okay. Leslie's bringing former some other all-time all-star trainers. I don't see the wisdom in hiring your long-time trainer. Yeah, I do. I do see some sense in it. If your trainer is opposite of your own self-belief, then you need to get rid of him. Sorry. Good afternoon, my friend. Hope you're well. Brandon Rios left for Robert Garcia, and I think that put the nail in his career. By the time he went back to him, he was ruined. You got your title with RG. Why leave him? I hear that. Jay Dewes has done a lot, but he's never been to the highest levels inside the ropes. Does he know what goes through a fighter's mind inside the ring? He knows enough not to interrupt with Deontay Wilder's self-belief. He knows that much to respect what a fighter desires, what his boss desires. I think all that sex before fights he had spoken about has finally caught up with him. Conserve that zinc, not so close to fight. Oh, I like that one. Wouldn't he be a supreme checkmate if Tyson Fury had Breland on his team just for mind games going to the third fight? Major move. Yep, I can see that. Fury might have gassed, we'll never know. Yeah, he may have gassed. We will never know. Breland went rogue. Yeah, well, I believe he did. And there's always somebody saying, come on to me. Okay, come on, Ingram. I have to give Breland more credit for his character. You think Fury got in Breland's ear for him to leave Wilder and not Wilder for letting go, for throwing the towel in to save career? Interesting. If Breland goes to Fury, he's a snake. That's what they do. Breland was listening to a crunk fighter who's screaming, throwing the towel. He got emotional. He's too soft. Would I have thrown the towel in? Well, I'll answer that question. My answer to that question is, in Rome, do as Rome. Well, so you would have followed Diaz. If I would never be in the same room as a Diaz anyway. Do you understand? Why would I be in a room with Diaz? I'd be more likely to be in a room with someone like James Bashir than Diaz. I'm fortunate. I know quite a few people in boxing. I wouldn't be with Jay Diaz. So I would follow. If James Bashir is training, I don't know, Vlad Serenko, that's like me being his second in the corner and going, you know what? Forget what Bashir says. I'm going to do my own thing. No. So I would follow Diaz. That's just called following the boss. That's respect. Wilder's a pit bull. You can't stop them. Know your breed. Yeah, interesting there. I like that. Every fighter believes he can turn the fight around, but sometimes it takes someone who can see from the outside and know you can't. Yeah, but again, that's not Breland's responsibility in this situation. That is the fighter's responsibility. If that's what they've agreed with, going to war, it's not like a fighter hasn't said it. He's agreed this before they've gone to war, before they've gone to the arena. This has been agreed for a long time. He's got his own ideas, Breland. When Ben was helping Fury's ego, removing padding. Diaz was a cop-out. Really? What on earth could Wilder have done? He didn't have his legs under him. He looked dizzy, his focus was not there. You say that, but how many times in boxing have we seen situations like that where it's been turned around? Don't play as if it hasn't happened before in boxing. Don't talk as if it hasn't happened where guys have been completely out of their feet, completely out of the fight, and turned it around. Harold Graham was giving Julian Jackson a complete beatdown. Should have been getting stopped. What happened? One punch later, Harold Graham's out. Julian Jackson's champion of the world. And that's a phenomenal puncher. Nigel Benn was getting whacked around the ring by Logan. Lands one punch, knocks Logan out. Come on. I mean, sometimes people talk and then they forget about the history of boxing and they just talk without thinking about, has an incident like this ever happened in boxing before where a guy's been at the end of a shellacking and come back and won a fight? There are countless situations in boxing where it's happened. So just because it's Tyson Fury, it doesn't mean that history suddenly changes. Oh, it's Tyson Fury. It can't happen here. It can happen and it will happen. It's boxing. It happens. People make mistakes. People get tired. People lose concentration. Dillian Whyte just got knocked out the other day. There's another example. Povetkin down twice. Dillian Whyte looks on the verge of winning a fight. One punch later, White's laying on the canvas. We're talking about a rematch. What are you talking about? Povetkin was out of it, according to some people. Some people call it upset. I didn't. So I can't say what else could Wilder have done. But obviously, from the outside looking in, he didn't look in a good shape. He didn't. But that combination that Fury may have thrown there may have been his last combination. He may have gone back to the corner, and Fury may have come out next round tired, hands may have come down, Wilder may have cracked him with a right hand. We'll be talking about a different situation. But we don't know. We truly don't know. If throwing a towel in gets you fired, that's bad. That's a bad fighter to be working with. Okay? People do respect fighters' wishes. End of story. I would have nothing but killers around me. I understand that. If fighters who want to get seriously hurt or God forbid get permanently hurt, but they would have wanted to be stopped by corner, convo would be very different. But you're talking from a situation of trying to be clever on YouTube. I say it before, I'll say it again. Talk about Deontay Wilder. We're not talking about fighters. We're not talking about because we're not talking about all the boxers in the world. We're talking about this particular fighter, this particular fight, this particular camp. We're talking about Team Wilder. We're not talking about Team Unified Boxing. We're talking about Deontay Wilder and what Deontay Wilder's specific wishes were before the fight. So I don't give a damn about what's going on in another fighter's camp. As far as I'm concerned, and I guess it's because having worked and work in sport and being a professional coach myself, you just deal with your client. If my client is Coca-Cola, I don't give a damn what's going on at Pepsi. I don't give a damn what's going on at Asda's own brand. I don't care about. All I care about is my brand is number one, or I make my brand number one, or my brand can be as best it possibly can be. That's my responsibility. And to follow my client's orders, that is my responsibility. Don't care what anyone else is doing. This is what my brand, this is what my client wants. This is what I'm giving my client. Breland didn't hire Deontay Wilder. Wilder hired Breland. Breland don't pay for Wilder. Wilder plays for Breland. Get it straight. You might not like it. You might not agree with it. Walk. Straight up. If you don't like the way things are going, you can't leave. But there are people in here, hypocrites, sitting here, take money, doing a job they don't like it, and you understand? So now don't try it and say, oh, you know, at the end of the day, oh, one rules for one person, them out there, and no rules for here. You deal with your client accordingly. So no, I don't agree with that. Yard went out in his shield versus Cole. If he did, he did. Exactly, Ingram. Fury could have gassed. He could have gassed, indeed. I'm not highlighting anybody who comes in the room insulting anybody else. Sorry. Those examples you listed were largely two-way fights. Deontay didn't win 1 minute of the fight, and you can't have a 270 man beating on you. Really? Who says that? You say that. You say that. That's why you're not working with Deontay Wilder. The risk is too much just to uphold fighters' wishes. The team are there to make decisions. They hired for it and have trained for it. No. Joy Mike Breland out the door. When I'm in the gym, don't come help me with the 50 kg dumbbells. I don't need the effing FG help. I get that. Got some weak mentality here, man. Wilder's self-belief was greater than Breland's. Agree with that. Totally, 100%. Coldwell, you can't do a job and not follow orders, the ethos of your boss. Try it. Yeah. Yeah, I tell you what tomorrow, right? On Monday morning in your jobs, you go past your line manager. If you're not the boss and you're not self-employed, you go past your line manager. You work at McDonald's and you flipping burgers. You go in the office and start telling the line manager what to do. See if you don't get your ass sacked. On the battlefield, wave the white flag, of course. When you hire a trainer, you don't tell him how he trains you. Wait, is Mark Breland head coach? No. JD is his head coach. So what the hell are you talking about? Moving on. I can't believe this. If you came and landed on me, Ingram, I would hope someone would try and stop it. Not look at Ingram's hands. What? You're funny. At the same time, fighters have been hurt in the ring after taking sustained beatings. So what takes precedence? Chance that someone can turn fight around with one shot, or is it the same man after fight? Okay. History has evidence of both. Okay. That's nice. But again, Wilder is the boss. JD is head coach. What about that you don't understand? Wilder is McDonald's. JD is the manager. And Mark Breland is the assistant. What Mark Breland did was said, you know what? This is no longer called McDonald's. I don't like the way McDonald's is being run. I'm going to call it Breland's instead. That's what happened. That's it. You can't do that. No. You knew it was McDonald's when you came in through the door. You knew there was no chance of you becoming Breland's. You walk in another man's house and then tell another man, you know what? You ain't got enough left. As far as I'm concerned, this fight's got to stop. As far as I'm concerned, your self-belief isn't up to scratch. As far as I'm concerned, as a man, you're not putting out. You're not good enough for this no more. You're getting a shallacking. Got to stop you now. Sorry. That's what's going on there. Shook, I'm glad you're not a boxer. Laugh my head off. Wilder just needs to work on his jab and footwork as well as his strength and conditioning. Sounds good, Samuel. I like the sound of that. Definitely. Ha ha ha. So, I don't want to hear anything else about what happens in other fighters' camps. I don't want to hear any stories about, oh, well, and get emotional like Mark Breland. Because you're going to get emotional like Mark Breland, you need to leave. You just leave like Mark Breland's leaving now. So, having looked at it all now, do I think Jay Diaz is the best thing for Deontay Wilder? I don't know. But I do know something's got to change. Do you think fighters should have agreements with trainers? And if agreed, the fighter doesn't have the power to throw the towel in? There may have been a 15-year agreement with JDS. Do I agree? It's not about what I agree. It's not what I agree. It's not about what I agree. It's about what the fighter agrees to. Right? And every time a fighter gets in the ring, there's an agreement when he gets in the ring that he might not get out of the ring. He might not get out of the ring the same fighter. He may get out of the ring. He may sustain a beating. That's why fighters train and put themselves through the torture they put themselves through. If you're not a fighter, you don't get it. You don't understand. If you've never fought before in a ring, you don't get it. You do not understand the process of getting up in the morning. The process of getting up in the morning and running and training and thinking to yourself while you're training, man, this guy could beat me. And you're running. And you think to yourself, this guy can't beat me. This guy can't beat me. I'm training harder than him. I'm running faster than him. I'm doing more sit-ups than him, doing more press-ups than him. I'm hitting the bag more than him. So you're getting your mind prepared for that. And then the doubts start coming in. Oh, suppose this fight doesn't go. So you've got to start keep talking to yourself all the time. Well, you're not feeling good in the gym. You're getting, you get whacked up your body. You don't want to be there. Your mates are out in the park, go partying. Your teammates, look, I can't go out today. I'm in training camp. All that stuff you have to go through. The mentality of a fighter. You don't want to be there some nights. You could be snuggled up in bed with your girlfriend, or going out for a nice walk with your girlfriend at night time, going to the cinema or the movies, or going out for a meal with her. Instead, you have to cancel that because you've got to focus in training camp. All these things are in a fighter's mindset. And he's training for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks to build his body up, to build his mind up, to, you know what? Once I get in that ring, I've done all the work. And they get in the ring, and it's not working out their way, right? And you got a guy like Breland that comes on and says, you know what? I'm just going to stop the fight. I'm just going to stop the fight. No matter what the head coach says, I'm just going to stop the fight. That you can't get back. Can't get it back. You can't get it back. That way, it's known before fight who can and can't stop fight. It was known before the fight, Ruben. What are you talking about? Never mind. Moving on. 40 plus fights. It's sad Breland didn't let him fight back even after Wilder hit him with the left. On my way to the gym now. Those weights can't beat me. Those one-man sports really are make or break, and if you have any give, it will show. I respect anyone who climbs for the ropes to feed his family, of course. I think we just got to leave it as that for now. For me, I ultimately believe that Mark Breland went over the head of the head trainer, and he went over the head of the fighter. Listen, their head trainer didn't even stop the fight. Their head trainer didn't stop the fight. And they've known each other 15 years. So, you tell me. I don't see how. Look how emotional you are with this particular fighter in this particular situation. So no. The ref said he was close to stopping the fight too. I personally think Breland was in the right. Wilder was done. Well, let the referee stop the fight. Let the onus be on the referee. Let the onus be on the referee, not Breland. I suspect more might come out in the coming weeks. Didn't even know non-head trainer could stop fight. Well, it's a new one. I don't know. I didn't know that's possible. Is that possible? Well, obviously, this fight was stopped. So that mean anyone in the corner count? That's a good question. It's a good question, Ruben. But apparently, Breland took it upon himself to do that. But as I said before, he didn't follow the instructions. He didn't listen to what Wilder had to say. So if you don't listen to your boss, But I suspect it's not just this situation. This situation was the icing on the cake. And I pray to God they don't bring Malik Scott in. I really pray to God they don't bring Malik Scott in. No, please. No, not Malik Scott. In the biggest fight of your fight life, you're bringing Malik Scott in. No. Malik Scott and him have been best friends for years. But does he really need a best friend for this fight? Or does he need somebody who's going to put him right? I think he needs somebody who's going to put him right. Not Malik Scott. Wilder needs somebody who's going to drive him. Take him to that next level. I don't see Malik Scott being that guy. At all. But, who am I? That's crazy. If anyone in the corner can, if your cut man jumped in with a towel after seeing a nasty cut, this could open doors for anarchy in corners. There we go. Would you have stopped the fight had you been in Wilder's corner? I've just joined the conversation like, no. No. I'm not the head trainer. I'm not the head trainer. That's like I said before. That's like me flipping burgers at McDonald's, and I decide to go past the manager of McDonald's and go to actually McDonald's. And say, you know what? I'm not going to call it McDonald's now. I'm going to call it Jones. No. Wilder needs someone who don't see him as the boss. LOL. I don't know about that. Wilder needs somebody who's gonna, you know, give him tough love, but somebody who can push him hard and get out of his habits. I don't know if you can do that at his age. I don't think you can change his habits at his age. I think you just got to refine him. You've got to work with what Wilder has and work on it. So working with the jab more, getting his footwork together. Instead of him pulling back from punches, keep walking forward instead. You know? Strength and conditioning, physical strength. So, you know, working with big, heavy men. But we'll see. And I don't really think Floyd Mayweather is the answer either. I just don't. I don't think Floyd Mayweather... We don't know what Floyd's going to produce with the fighters he's working with at the moment. In the big fights. I think we need somebody who's proven. Morning, Breeders from Crunk. Wonder if that has something to do with it. We'll never know. Interesting. I think it's easy to forget that Wilder's 35 on account of how young he is. How much can he change? Can he make at this point in his career? That's what I said. I've just answered your question. It's not about changing. It's about polishing up. You can't go changing his style now. But what you do at this stage is modify. You add. Do you understand? So you get him to throw the jab more. You know, you get him to move forward, more forward movement than backwards. Who do I think wants a third? Let's talk about when we get close to it. Floyd Mayweather with Deontay Wilder. I swear, if I saw Wilder try to shoulder roll, the day of judgment is near. Yeah, I don't think we'll see a shoulder roll. Do you think Diaz being so friendly turns on Wilder has a negative impact in his career? Well, listen, before the Tyson Fury fight, he was doing all right. They were doing okay until the Tyson Fury fight. And even the Tyson Fury fight, they were doing okay because he dropped Fury twice. All right? But I just feel the second fight, there was no adjustments made. No adjustments. So, friendly, no. I just think that Diaz needs help. Diaz could be the reason for not seeing much change in Wilder's game. Yeah, he could be the reason. He could be a stubborn trainer. But he's gone and spoken to George Foreman. As I said, would be a very good thing for him to do. I said that he should talk to George Foreman. Because him and Foreman would get on well together. I don't know what Foreman technically can give Wilder. He can give Wilder experience in terms of talking to him, his mental game. But I don't know technically what Foreman can give. I'd much rather have someone like Derek James training him. Negative impact on his career. He never really lost a straight up bout. That's what I'm saying. So Diaz was with him, so he was riding with him. Yeah, sure, true. yeah, true, see that Wilder's talent more than Diaz's training. Really, bro? I don't think so. Getting counsel with Foreman was a very shrewd move. It could be useful, perhaps, for some fine tuning. Yes, I called for it. The two people Wilder should be talking to is George Foreman and Thomas Hearns, for obvious reasons. And then the two people I would look to bring into camp either would be James Ali Bashir, former Kronk, and basically has years on Sugar Hill, on what Sugar Hill knows. Bashir knew Hill as a little boy in camp with Manuel Stewart. So Bashir or Derek James. First of all, Derek James is a former heavyweight. That's the first thing. So you people think you can get welterweight trainers to train heavyweights? No. Heavyweights is a different dynamic. Even Stacey McKinley will get him proper sparring to prepare him for a Fury rematch. Yes, Foreman knew the old tricks. That doesn't make him a trainer. Sorry. It's good to mix up trainers either way. We found that out with Fury. Yes, we did find that out with Fury. But Fury, you look at a Fury, he's technically more advanced than Wilder. Do you understand? And Ben Davison had never been a proven trainer anyway. James Ali Bashir, Wilder came. Imagine Wilder using big man boxing effectively. That would be legendary. That's what I'm saying. So if you talk about Kronk, you talk about Sugar Hill. I can't believe how people are up Sugar Hill's arse so much, but they're not riding with Bashir. I don't understand it. It doesn't make no sense. The world don't make no sense in boxing. Bashir is an obvious person to go to. He's not going to take any crap. And he'll teach Wilder, because I've been in camp with Bashir. I've seen Bashir train in camp. I'm not just talking to you from a keyboard or behind a camera. I've seen Bashir train. I've seen how he works with heavyweights. I've seen the little movements he can give. He could give Wilder shake and bake. Shake and bake would be brilliant for Wilder. He certainly would be getting hit with the right hands. There's getting hit with Fury. Well, a nice bit of shake and bake. Bit more feinting. Sugar Hill is a disgrace, but that's a topic for another day. Why am I not surprised you said that? Yeah, only imagine how Wilder would be like if he started with Bashir or Manny. Interesting. See that Kronk heavyweight style of Vlad and Lennox, devastating with one-shot power. Yeah, but you all talk about Kronk and you talk about Emmanuel Stewart. There are guys like Luther Burgess and many other trainers that were inside the Kronk gym that do not get the credit. Everyone thinks Kronk is Emmanuel Stewart. And while Emmanuel Stewart was a very good trainer, he had other guys that were helping him to have. Emmanuel Stewart had a great team around him. But people don't talk about the team. They just talk about Emmanuel Stewart. And that gives a great disservice to some great trainers within boxing. Not just James Ali Bashir, but a bunch of guys. A bunch of OGs. Right? A bunch of OGs. If Wilder were to box close with some fainter angles, it would have been easy, early enough in Wilder's favour. See? So modification is definitely needed. Emmanuel Stewart wasn't just one person, he was an entire team. Exactly. I'm glad you said that. I'm really glad you said that. People say, oh, just Emmanuel Stewart. What just Emmanuel Stewart? Actually, just as I close, I was watching a fight back today of Jorge Luis Gonzalez against Riddick Bowe. That guy beat Bowe up and Lewis in the amateurs. And Bowe came back and he gave an absolute shellacking as a pro. And Gonzalez, fundamental-wise, in terms of boxing skill, is garbage. And Bowe just showed when you've got the way that Gonzalez got beat up by Bowe is not too dissimilar to how Lewis is not too dissimilar to how Fury beat Wilder in the second fight. Go back and look at that Gonzalez fight with Riddick Bowe, and go and look at the fight between Wilder and Fury, the second fight. It's absolutely shocking. Buddy McGirt, really? Really? Wilder changing his game plan and Fury not using loaded gloves is going to equal Fury getting stopped in 5 rounds. I think Buddy McGirt would be a good match for Wilder. Riddick Bowe had such heart and determination. Big Daddy. He is a good fighter, Bowe. Very underrated. Bowe would have smashed a lot of these heavyweights up today. I believe Bowe, looking at Riddick Bowe today, I think he would have beaten Fury up. He would have beaten Fury up, Riddick Bowe. Good on the outside, good on the inside, good jab, good power, good uppercut on the inside. Bowe was a beast. Look at him now. He was in shape, Bowe. The Bowe that fought Holyfield and the Bowe that fought Gonzalez. Those guys were really good. Yeah. So, that being all said and done, I'm out of here. Thank you so much for watching. Again, really appreciate the love. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments in the comment section. Bowe had heart. Except for Lennox Lewis, he didn't want that smoke at all. I think Bowe was advised not to take the Lennox Lewis fight. I still get angry when heavyweights discussed and Larry Holmes isn't mentioned. Yeah, Larry is a great fighter. One of the best jabs in boxing history. Went 48-0. Yeah, people have missed out Larry Holmes. People miss out Larry Holmes. I think really one of the things that people is because probably Larry Holmes put a beating on old Muhammad Ali. I guess people don't like him because of that. And of course, people remember Larry Holmes very unfairly for getting knocked out by Mike Tyson. But Larry Holmes is a great fighter. Great fighter. Great fighter. Right, let me get out of here. Again, please don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments. As always, appreciate you. It's good to be talking boxing again.